Alright guys, so I got a nice package here for the Matrix. Here's a Monkey Wrench Racing. I got the short throw shifter and the solid brass bushing. So this shifter is supposed to be a really nice quality shifter for the Matrix. I imagine this is steel, but this looks really nice, high quality. So compared to the stock one, which the stock one is all nylon, this is going to be a nice solid shifting short throw shifter. So can't wait to get this installed, because obviously if you guys watch my videos, you guys know how sloppy the shifter is in this car now. I don't know which one I should do first. I think I'll probably install this first in the car, and then I will do the bushings right after. So let's hop inside the car. Alright, so hopping in the car, here we have a really sloppy shifter, which I don't really think much of it is the actual shifter. I think more of it is the actual bushings itself, because the shifter doesn't look too bad, but if I'm going to upgrade the bushings, why not upgrade to a short throw shifter on here? Monkey Wrench Racing does include some brief instructions on how to get this off, so I will reference them as needed. But first thing we're going to have to do is get this center console out of here. We're going to have to pop off pretty much all. I'm just going to loosen the radio for now. We're going to have to pull off this Phillips screw. We're going to have to take off this plate in order to get to, I think there's more screws underneath here. Alright, and I just want to give a shout out to eMANUALonline.com. They're wanting to partner with the channel, and for projects just like this and many other projects that you guys will work on in your car, they supply the best manuals out there. Pretty much the same manuals that you will receive. I guess the manuals that they use at the dealership are pretty much, these are dealer level manuals that they offer. So pretty much you'll just look for whatever car you need. In my case, it's a 2003 Toyota Matrix, and then you can search on their website and find, say, the 2003 Matrix service manual. And if you guys use my discount code, you guys can save yourself a little bit more money on these. But just the price in general is not that bad to give you full access to pretty much every single thing you need on these documents. So, and once you get everything all downloaded and situated, they pretty much have everything broken down into subsections of the car. So we're specifically looking for the manual transmission shifter. And also too, is say this manual is perfect because it has the 2ZZ as well as the 1ZZ motor. So you practically get two owner manuals or two maintenance manuals in one. So, but we are going to look for, in this case, it gives you kind of a breakdown of how everything is mounted on this page. And now here is a good how to replace your shifter assembly and everything that's going to need to be done. So they show all the pins that you're going to need to take out. They show you how to disconnect the actual shifter cables off the unit, the other cotter pins or clips that are on here. So it's really good information on how to actually do this. Because like I said, Monkey Wrench Racing does supply some basic instructions, but having these pictures and showing you all the nuts and bolts that you need to take off is like the perfect combination. Let's start by taking out the screw. Alright, so that loosened up everything here. There's a plug on the back of both of these. One for the cigarette lighter and one for the power inverter. And don't break your plastic piece like I did. Alright, the way Toyota designed this was probably the stupidest way possible. But they tried to reuse, because I believe on the base model Matrixes, this is just a flap door, and they literally cut the same cubby and they just slapped on a cover for your inverter, and the plugs are inside of there, so you have to pretty much pop this off in order to get that off of there. So now that we got this off, Gives us plenty of room now to get in here. There's gonna be another 2 screws, Phillips screws right on the top. All right, now this whole thing will slide off. Now that gives us pretty much full access to everything we're gonna need to do on here. So, there's gonna be 2 linkages. So you're gonna have like your left and right linkage, and then your up and down linkage that you're gonna have to disconnect. So, and they're just these little, I don't want to call them cotter pins, but they are like some type of weird pin that holds into it. So you can see this one right here, and then you have the other one. And again, I took these off by hand. You shouldn't really need to. Maybe pliers might help, but those are off. And now that'll disconnect the bushings from the actual shifter. So now the shifter has nothing, it's not connected to anything. Now we can take off the 4 bolts that are holding on to this. I think there might be 12. Alright, so these bolts do kind of stick out a little bit. You might need a deep socket. My car literally has plastic broken pieces just falling. This car has definitely been neglected. Hoping to get this car to be running in perfect tip-top shape. I guess I completely missed. You're gonna have the shift boot, so you're gonna have to take that off or get around it, but I threw mine away because it was disgusting in here. So you will have to take off the shift boot, which I believe there's a wire frame around it, and you can just squeeze that wire frame and then slide it above after you take your shift knob off. So now the only thing left is to disconnect the actual shifter cables from this. Might be easier when it's still attached. I think one of these is just kind of jammed on me. I put the assembly back together like with a couple bolts just to make it easier, but you're supposed to twist these little rings that have a tab on it. You can see it in the picture in there. They show you the rotation, but you can also see it down here. And when you press it, you want to pull down. Keyword shit. All right, there we go. So now we got this. So now the whole shifter assembly should come off. So I would recommend keep the bolts on until you get those cables off. So I do want to say this feels so nice compared to this. This is literally just going to be a direct replacement. I'm just going to take my shift knob and put it on here. And this honestly looks really nice, where I might not even put a shift boot on this because this looks nice, like really nice. So I don't know if we're going to need this plastic bushing on here or not. And the plastic bushing on here, we might need that. I'll take a look at Monkey Wrench Racing's thing. If we don't need it, then that'll be great. It'll just fit right on top of there. And we might want to get some lithium grease to put on these. It does look like we have to take off the, what do they call it? The plastic cup off of here. So, and I assume that this is what the tool is for. Don't know what the easiest way is to get this out of there. They say something about unbolting this and putting in a vise. I don't really have a vise set up to do that, so I'm just going to try. And the other one came off like literally pretty easily. It just slides on and off of here, and it looks like it's held on with that clip. But this one's like pressed onto this ball. So, all right, so I got this off, this up with here, and I just pried up against it, and then it popped off. So I'm gonna clean this, then grease all this stuff up, and then we should be able to put this back into the car, and this should be a simple install. The shifter bushings might be a little bit harder, but so I'm just gonna add a little bit of white lithium grease inside of this pivot hole. All right, and I just hammered that on. The grease probably helped a little bit too. So now that's all nice and clean, greased up. Now let's go throw this into, I guess I'll grease this one up too, just a little bit. Doesn't need much. Just to make sure we got smooth actuation. All right, and this will pretty much only go on one way. And I do want to mention too, specifically this shifter does not need any bushings, so it bolts straight to the frame of the car. And now this is where we might need to get a deep socket. So there's that one. So these are a little bit finicky trying to get back in there, but they do fit. It is just a tight fit. All right, you guys, so I got everything all installed. This was a lot harder to get back together. So, and I was having problems with these springs popping out on me for the thing that tightens and loosens these little clamps. But I got them all situated. It's like the thickness of this material is a little bit thicker than it should be, but all in all, I mean, it feels good. So the shifter is so much shorter, like the shifts are so much shorter. So this feels really, really nice. So I am pleased with this so far. So let's hop on to the shifter bushings. And hopefully now, like, this does still have a little bit of slop, but it's actually not nearly as bad as what it was before. So my problem was, like, when I was first driving this car, is I would go too far over and I would go into reverse when I meant to go into first. So, but like this one, you can actually feel all the gears nicely. All right, so just with the shifter alone, like, it did fix a little bit of slop, but there's still quite a bit of slop. Like, I'm in neutral now, and this is how much slop there still is. So that's definitely, hopefully those shifter bushings will fix this problem, and then we will have a really nice shifter on this matrix. Like I said, this thing looks really good, and I'm pleased with this so far. So like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna keep this without a shift boot or put a shift boot on it, but I think this nice black steel with the I'm assuming that's stainless hardware, looks really nice. So I might keep it just like that. Alright, so now that I got the shifter all done on the inside, now we gotta come down to finding out where these bushings are. So I'm assuming we're going to take off the intake and the intake piping. I mean, if we're lucky, we just take off the top of the intake, the piping, and then we will have the access we need to that. The stock ones they're like a rubber with, like, I think a steel insert on them. I don't remember exactly what they are. So, but now these are going to be solid brass. So they're going to be there should be no, like, gumminess from the rubber. Just want to give you guys a quick update. This is weird, I don't know, vacuum system tubing that goes, there's one little one here, a bigger one here, one there, and a plug. Just to get the top of the airbox off. So here's the little plug, here's one of the other vacuum lines, and then the two right here, and then the mass airflow and that other plug. So there's that out of the way. So now I'm gonna, oh, and I also loosened this as well. So now I'm gonna loosen this on the throttle body and take that off. I believe this is the cruise control module on this car. So if you don't have one, it would probably be a lot easier. Your two shifter bushings are gonna be down here. One is sideways right here, and then the other one is right there facing upwards. So and there's a cotter pin on the top. You just pull that out, and then that should just lift up, and then we'll have to push the bushing out through that. It is in a very awkward spot on this car. I was expecting it to be a lot closer up here. Alright guys, so I got one of them out. You can see pretty much how worn this is. There should be, like, no cracks or anything in this whole middle thing. I mean, it might be a little bit worse for me pulling on it, but this is going to be a way better replacement than what that is. So and I could try to show you. So if you can see that plastic piece right there with the hole through it is the bushing I took out, and now the other one is like 90° to that. So I'm gonna try to put this one in real quick and then yank that other one out. I really don't have any, like, I'm just using some needle nose pliers, and I'm just kind of grabbing it and pulling onto that brass piece. So that is probably the best way I'm doing it. There might be a better way, I'm not sure, but these are kind of wedged in there pretty good. So whether or not you can grab, like I said, I'm just kind of grabbing here and just yanking up and finally getting it. So I don't know any other good way. Maybe spraying these with like some type of lubricant might help loosen it and squeeze them in and out easier. But my car is not rusty. I know if your car is really rusty, these are going to be even worse to get out. So luckily this car has like no rust on it, but it is still a pain to get back there. But there's really no other easy way. I don't know if it'd be easier to come underneath the car, but it's whatever. So I'm gonna put this next one in here. So this clip is just gonna go around here and snap over. And they also supply a little bit of lube, so that way you can put the lube. You're gonna want to put it around here. So yeah, I just got this one all finished and installed, got the cotter pin and everything. And now I went to go start working on this one. And this one, I don't know if you guys can tell, but like look at how oblong that hole is that connects to the shifter linkage. That is super worn out. I mean, I haven't even touched this with pliers yet, and that hole is way bigger than the hole or the piece that actually it gets put onto. So that one is definitely worn out. I finally got both of them on. Like I said, really hard to actually see. The lighting sucks, but you could see two shiny brass pieces down there. So now that I got that done, let's feel the shifter. Because you guys saw before how much wiggle room there was. So there's literally like barely any wiggle room, especially up and down. And then, like I said, I think some of that play is coming from the actual shifter here. But yeah, there's literally, oh yeah, this feels, it feels very notchy. So this is literally so much nicer. So yeah, and getting into reverse is a lot harder, which I kind of like that, because like I said before, I was literally not sure if I was in reverse or if I was in first. So now I can tell the difference between first and reverse. Yeah, no, this is so much better. And like I said, this looks nice in here. So like I said, I don't know if I'm going to keep it without this. Maybe I might get a shifter boot. I don't know yet. But this Monkey Wrench Racing short shifter definitely does look nice. So now I really want to just go drive this thing and see how it is. But I got to put everything back together now on the front. So yeah, I got to put this cruise control thing back on. Which there's two holes here, two bolts there. There was, oh, now I gotta find it. Oh yeah, there was this hook here that was also bolted to the side of that here that I undid. But yeah, let's get all this button back up and hopefully the car starts up right. Oh, and something else I meant to tell you guys was I lost a bunch of footage of me fixing the speedometer. This is pretty much the only footage I had. I finally got the speedometer to work. Holy, I can actually see how fast I'm going now. I nailed it down to a bad ABS module here. I swapped out all this stuff. I still need to bleed the brakes because obviously I let a bunch of air into the lines and I dripped a bunch of fluid, but it does work. Everything works. The speedometer works. So it finally cleared my code, but then I was like, oh, I'm so excited to finally hit lift. So I was like, okay, let's go take this thing for a drive. As soon as I hit 7,000 RPM, check engine light came on. And I was like, oh crap. And I don't have the code specifically up right now, but it had something to do with the lift. I'm pretty sure the code, when I googled it, it was a clogged filter, the little filter thing that I guess that's in the lift area. That is probably my problem, because if you think about it, if this car has not had the speedometer working, it has not hit lift in probably 50,000 miles or something like that. So no oil has gone through there in a while, so it's probably built up with quite a bit of sludge and stuff. So, but now let's start this car, and hopefully I got all my vacuum lines correct. I have to say the shifting in the Matrix feels amazing now. Like, I wish my Corolla felt like this. I do have to be careful, I don't have much brakes, but the speedometer is working, which is finally a good thing. I can actually see how fast I'm going. But the shifter, there's like barely any slop in the shifter, so this car is finally starting to come along pretty good. There is some wind noise I do need to fix, because one of the seals is missing around the window, so I do need to find one of those. But they're actually really expensive, honestly. Like, I was looking, like, I'm seeing like $60, $60-$70 for one seal, so I was gonna see if I could find a used Matrix somewhere local and I could take them off of, but this car, I mean, honestly, like I said, it's finally coming along, and I have that check engine light now from the VVTi system, probably needing to be cleaned. So I'm definitely going to hopefully clean that out pretty soon. See, it does limit me at 7,000 still because of that check engine light. So, and I have read that's very common on these cars. So hopefully cleaning that filter and doing a nice oil change on this car will hopefully fix that problem. But all in all, I definitely have to say this car, I love the radio. The radio is nice now. The speedometer is working. Got a nice shifter. Definitely say this car is finally coming along pretty good. And I've only put in like a few $100s on this car, so it's not like it's cost me a lot of money to get this car to where it is. I'm just hoping that cleaning that filter and maybe doing the lift bolts will be a good choice. Alright guys, so I finally got this shifter all installed, tested out. This thing feels amazing. So I honestly, like, Monkey Wrench Racing really nailed this one pretty good. So like, compared to the Corolla one where I just changed out just the actual like lever shifter itself, compared to this one, like, this is like a whole new unit. It feels solid, like everything feels like amazing. Every shift, like, it is a little bit harder to shift, which it's kind of expected, because when I did this to the Corolla, it also was a little bit harder to shift because you don't have all that leverage, and when you go to the solid brass bushings, it makes everything like super like crunchy, I guess you could say. And so it's like you really have to put a little bit of oomph into every shift, which honestly I don't ever mind. But if you like to have just a smooth transition, you probably might not want the actual solid brass bushings, because those kind of squishing up a little bit to help ease into each shift. But honestly, I love it. So with this and the Monkey Wrench Racing bushings, it's like, I think I paid like I don't remember how much the shifter was. I think it was like $160, and then the bushings were like $25 or something like that, and then shipping. So I think like $180 I paid. Completely changed the way this Matrix shifts. So definitely would say, if you guys are interested, I'll put a link down below for this Monkey Wrench Racing short throw shifter and the bushings. So the bushings are compatible with like a lot of the Toyotas, while this shifter is specifically for the Matrix. So I think specifically for the XRS Matrix. I'm not sure if it works for the XR, like the 5-speed manuals, but it definitely works great for the XRS. So, but if you guys are new, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.